Hello everyone, we are live for back chat. Oh, and it's still going on. Sorry, there's a bit of noise there in the background. I hope you can hear me okay. So feel free, if you are joining me here live, please do let me know that you can hear me. It's always reassuring when I know that I'm not just talking to myself and then I have to do it all over again. So welcome everyone. If this is your first time here in Backchat, this is part of my Yoga for Scoliosis community. Some of you might have joined the Facebook group already. If you haven't, then please head over to Facebook and do so. Hi Tatiana, she's saying good morning. So I'm hoping that you can hear me okay. And those of you who are listening to this on your podcast app, which is another great option, by the way, if you don't want to watch me for 45 minutes and you just want to be getting on with your life and listening to what I have to say, and if I'm interviewing people, then you can head over to Spotify or your podcast app as well on your phone, and you will find me there as Backchat with Christine as well. So that's another great option. However, I really enjoy when you are here live because it makes the whole thing a little bit more interesting for everyone. We can make it a little bit more relevant for everyone. Liz is here. Hi Liz. Gail is here. Fantastic. Thank you so much for letting me know. So I had a little bit of a break last week, so sorry if you tuned in and I wasn't here. Because in the UK we were finally let out of the house. Woohoo! So my family and I, we went to the coast down to Kent and had a few days there, just spending some time somewhere else rather than our home. So we did some cycling trips and some walking and things like that. So that was really nice, and just having a little bit of a break. However, I am back now, and yes, it's great to be here. So today what I would like to talk about is the difference between Schroth and Yoga for Scoliosis. So if you are here live, tell me, do you have any experience with either? I know some of you have got experience with Yoga for Scoliosis because I know you. But have you done any Schroth therapy before? And I'm just seeing Gail's name here in the chat. So it's Gail Pickens-Barger, ease back pain with yoga. Great, excellent, fantastic. So yes, have you done any Schroth therapy before? Are you completely new to the topic? And maybe you've got some specific questions. And I picked up on this. I found this question in my Facebook community. So again, if you've got any questions, this is another place to leave them. And then you've got lots of other people as well chipping in. But I thought this one was a little bit of a longer one to discuss. So I didn't want to just write a comment because it wouldn't have done it any justice. So I thought, let's do a back chat about this topic, and then I can hopefully clarify a few things for you. Now, I have to little disclaimer here. So for those of you who are new, I am a yoga teacher. So I teach yoga for scoliosis. However, I have quite a bit of experience with Schroth therapy. I do not teach it. However, I'm not a certified Schroth therapist or anything like that. So, but I will tell you what I know basically about this type of therapy. And I've been kind of diving in a little bit deeper over the last year, especially since my interview last summer with Meredith Weiss, who is a Schroth Barcelona therapist and a yoga teacher. And before that, I was always a little bit, I was interested, but I always thought that there was a big kind of division between the two types of approaches. So I wasn't really ready to dive in deeper. However, and I've been talking to one of my one-to-one students about this week as well. I think it's really important to keep an open mind and to discover different approaches, different points of views, trying them out and see how you can kind of integrate a few of these things. So that's kind of what I have been, and that's hopefully what comes across in this back chat as well, that I'm interviewing people that have different backgrounds, that teach different methods as well, and then you can decide from the information that you're getting, do you want to know more about it? Do you want to explore it a little bit more? Do you want to dive deeper? Or maybe it's not for you. And sometimes as well, you might hear that there is a little bit of conflicting information. And, this is just part of life, right? It's not, there isn't a handbook on how to do everything and how to get through life, but conflict and different opinions will always come up. And this is a learning journey for me as well. And so all that we can do is kind of listen to those different opinions, including mine, obviously, as well. Also just an opinion, a perspective, and then take the bits that you like. So I'm also kind of referring back to, obviously, all of you know Dr. Fishman. He's been on this show a couple of times at least, and I really value his research. Then there are other people that would completely contradict him and wouldn't say, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But I still want to hear from them, right? I do want to hear from everyone, and I think that's how we can keep an open mind, and that's how progress is made as well, in my opinion. And I will talk to you a little bit about Schroth now in a moment, and that wasn't a smooth ride either, right? There is also different opinions, and Schroth has really been developing and branching out. Good. Lovely. So Tatiana is saying, I do yoga all my life, but now I'm scared to do twisting after listening to Schroth. Are you doing still twisting? Okay, I will talk to you about this as well. Let's talk about, before I go into that, Tatiana, I think I need to clarify for people what Schroth is, right? Because it might not be so obvious for some people, and they might be thinking, what's she talking about, right? So Schroth, or Schroth, how we say in German, was developed by a lady called Katharina Schroth. And I'm German, so I'm saying it in the German pronunciation. However, the English or Americans, they usually say Schroth. So Schroth, Katharina Schroth, she was born and raised in Germany. She developed this method, or she had scoliosis herself, and she wasn't a doctor, she wasn't a physiotherapist, she was just interested in treating her own scoliosis with exercises. So she kind of developed this method back in the 1920s, so 100 years ago now, in Germany. And she tried it out on herself. She found that it improved her scoliosis. She tried it out on lots of different people. She developed this method, and it was kind of, in the beginning, it was viewed as quite controversial, and there were different opinions. Does that sound familiar? But she kept going with it, and she found that it was really, really helpful. And then over the years to come, she founded this clinic in Bad Sobernheim in Germany with her daughter Christa Lena Schroth, who eventually took over the business, and then her grandson again, so son of Christa Schroth, Christa Lena Schroth, Hans Rudolf Weiss. So I'm giving you all those German names now. He again developed it further, and he actually came out with this book, which I would highly recommend to anyone who is interested in diving a little bit deeper. Now, there is another book, and I know some of you who are maybe Schroth therapists, and you're listening to this just to make sure that I'm saying the right things. You know that there is another book which was written by Krista, and it's a big yellow book, massive thing. I haven't got it here, but it was originally written in the 1970s. It's kind of big yellow book with all the things that about this therapy and how to do it. I think this is, I'm not going to say it's better, but I think this is more of a kind of an updated version, a little bit more science, studies and all of that in it, much more kind of, not much more examples, but it's a little bit more modern. Let's say that it's a little bit more updated. So that's why I like this book. So sorry for those of you who are listening on the podcast. It's called Schroth Therapy, Advancements in Conservative Scoliosis Treatment. And it's written by Hans Rudolf Weiss with his mother, Christa Lena Schroth, and Marco. Sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but there you go. So that's a great kind of resource to dive in a little bit deeper. But what is it? So we know it was specifically developed for scoliosis. General kind of exercises. Katharina understood that this is a three-dimensional problem, that scoliosis is not just kind of a sideward curvature, it also comes with rotation. So she understood all of this, and she used the breath quite a lot. So there is some overlap definitely with yoga there, and that she recognized the importance of using the breath to activate certain muscles, maybe the kind of more sleepy areas, the concave areas of your body. But really, it's a type of physiotherapy, right? It's a physiotherapy rehab. When you've got a specific problem, you go to a Schroth therapist. They give you very specific exercises, which are not easy, which are very precise. Sometimes it reminds me a little bit of Pilates, in terms of like you have to do all those repetitions, and it's quite a precise recipe. Let's say that, and very much tailored to your scoliosis curvature. Okay, similar to what I'm teaching as well. However, I will go into the yoga part in a moment, but it's kind of holding, lots of isometric things, so that you hold, you breathe. Again, sounds quite similar to yoga, doesn't it? However, still different, right? So they are difficult. So that's the first thing. I find yoga easier to demonstrate and to replicate and to learn. Schroth is very specific. Again, there's a lot of room for error if you don't do it properly. If you don't do it right, there is probably less point. I'm not going to say no point in doing it, but you have to do it really properly to see the benefits. You have to pretty much have someone there to look at you while you're doing it, even though some of the Schroth therapists would probably disagree with that. No, you can do this on your own. But from what I have experienced on myself, so getting the exercises for myself and helping some of my clients with their exercises, I know that really you need somebody there to look at you, unless you've done this 100 million times already. And that's why they have those boot camp style courses where you go and you basically live in the clinic for 4 weeks or something like that, and you repeat. until you've got it down and you know what you're doing. So that is, let me know if that makes sense. That is kind of, this is what my experience with Schroth therapy was. Very good, very beneficial. It's designed to correct scoliosis, but it's very much designed for, well, especially the newer branches, I find, for adolescent idiopathic scoliosis and teenagers, kids that are still growing, where you can really make a big difference. Of course, that's the demographic they're mainly interested in. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a Schroth therapist and you're saying, no, we do this for everyone. But I find that this works best for kids, for teenagers. If my daughter, touching wood here, hopefully she will never have scoliosis, but if she did have scoliosis and I wanted her to do something very specific, I would probably send her to a Schroth therapist as a child, as a teenager. Now, yoga, shall we move on to yoga? Well, let me know if there are any questions about this so far, and I see if I'm missing anything out. So what I wanted to say as well, so what I know about Schroth therapy is that there have been different branches nowadays as well. So it's not kind of gone all linear with the Schroth family, but it's kind of branched out, and there's the Schroth Barcelona method. I know the ladies from SSOL, the Spinal and Scoliosis Online Learning. I'm hoping I'm saying this right, and I'm doing a fantastic course with them at the moment. They have been trained in all those methods. They're kind of doing their own thing as well in terms of education and educating everyone. But again, you know, that they're starting to be different adaptations and different branches. Good. So Jackie is asking, is Schroth useful for adults at all? I'm sure it is, and I think it's more for what your preference is for learning style. So Schroth, and you know, again, I am German, but I'm going to say it here. Now, it's a method developed in Germany. It's quite rigid. Stereotypes here. It's quite rigid. It's very precise. You have to do it 3 times a day. You know, and you kind of got, yeah, people shouting at you all the time when you're doing this. So it's a little bit more kind of, again, boot camp style. I'm not going to say military style, but you know what I mean. It's very disciplined. Not to say that yoga is not, right? It depends on your teacher, and I'm sure the same is true for the Schroth method. So there are people who get on really well with this and they love it. They've got the very precise instructions. That's the exercises that they do, and that's great. My experience with adults is that, well, first of all, generally doctors are less interested in you and your scoliosis once you're an adult, right? I'm sure you agree, unless you're in that kind of bracket where you're in danger of having surgery. My experience is that when you're an adult, first of all, it becomes a little bit more about pain, and it becomes more about making sure that it doesn't progress further, right? Same with teenagers, but with adults, there is more pain, there's more sensations involved with the scoliosis. Now, the teenagers generally don't have this. Now, when you've got back pain, again, this therapy can be really useful. However, I have found that body awareness and learning how you move, re-educating your body, can be really useful. And this is why I fell in love with yoga, and this is what worked for me, and this is why I am doing what I am doing, because I think as well you need to find something that you enjoy, right? If you do not enjoy it, you're not going to do it. Now, personally, I never enjoyed the Schroth exercises. I did not enjoy them. I find them a little bit boring, and I don't feel motivated by it. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It does work, absolutely. But you're going to have to be really motivated to do them. Yoga, on the other hand, I do enjoy. I love how I feel after a yoga class. I love that it is more than just a physical practice, and I will go into that in a moment. But I love all the aspects of it. Again, we've got the relaxation aspect. We've got all the different branches. It's more of a lifestyle, really. Then we're looking at nutrition as well with Ayurveda and all of that. It's much more of a holistic approach. And with scoliosis, I think we cannot just look at the physical. We cannot just look at the x-ray, right? There is so much going on in terms of physically the body, how we move, and what's going on inside of us. We're not just bones, but there's different tissues. We've got the organs, the nervous system. All of that is affected by scoliosis. And I think this really holistic, this broader approach works really, really well, which is why I teach it. So yoga, let's go back to this. Yoga was not developed to cure scoliosis, right? Schroth was developed to treat scoliosis. Yoga wasn't. So yoga is, the word yoga means to yoke, or it means union. So we're kind of connecting. Well, that's how I see it, as kind of bringing together body, mind, and spirit. That whole union of, it's not just a physical thing, but there is more to us. And it's a very old tradition. First of all, the roots go back, I've read like 5,000 years, and I've seen different numbers, but 5,000 years to India, obviously, where it's said to have originated. It was all kind of formalized by Patanjali 2,000 years ago with the Yoga Sutras, which give us kind of a guideline of what we should do with the purpose to reach enlightenment, right? Not to straighten your scoliosis curve. No, it's to be enlightened. Now, on the way to enlightenment, you will probably encounter various different benefits of yoga, which is my experience. That, first of all, I came to yoga to heal myself physically, to help me with my scoliosis. And then further down the line, acknowledging that actually it's not just my body that is affected, but maybe there's some other things going on as well. How does it affect me emotionally? How does it affect me mentally? Then I acknowledged, well, I'm getting older, so I have to be able to adapt, and I have to change. And yoga can help me in different periods of my life. For example, going through pregnancy, now kind of more going towards menopause. There's different stages, and there's no kind of one size fits all approach. And this is where yoga is fundamentally different, because it's not just about scoliosis. Now, yoga for scoliosis, and I just said it's not just for scoliosis. Yoga for scoliosis to me just means it's a yoga practice which keeps in mind, or which is kind of tailored, taken all the bits out of the yoga that are specifically beneficial for those with scoliosis. It wasn't invented for scoliosis, but it's taking that big thing of yoga and adapting it to the specific needs for those with scoliosis, because I believe that we are more than just scoliosis, right? There is so much more to us. So that's why not use a more kind of bigger method at the end of the day, because it's going to help us with different parts of our lives. Good. Right. Okay, let me just have a quick look at the comments here. Sorry, I missed some of them. What is the course fee for lesson of Schroth method? I don't know. So, you know, again, I am a yoga for scoliosis teacher. I'm not a Schroth therapist, but you'll have to have a look in your area. If you know, there's different people that teach it. It depends on who you're working with. But it's a very specialized type of physiotherapy. It's not going to be cheap. Right, and then yes, so that's the same question about online class course fee. So again, so my purpose today is to tell you what I know about the Schroth therapy, and I am a fan, as you know. But at the end of the day, I teach yoga, so I can tell you about the yoga practice and the online courses that I teach, that I offer. But if you're looking for more kind of the Schroth approach, then you need to Google maybe Schroth therapy in my area or something like that. Good, great question. Tatiana is asking, are there same exercises in yoga and Schroth? No, I don't think so. I don't think that they are the same. However, the approach is similar. So again, what I am taking from the Schroth therapy is how they are experts in scoliosis, right? And they know how scoliosis works mechanically. They have got kind of all the kind of the science background information and all of that. But we can take some of their principles and can bring them into our yoga practice. So one of them being obviously that this is a three-dimensional approach. And Tatiana, you were asking about the twisting earlier on. So I'm going to go through this now. But I did want to mention, before I do that, I wanted to mention the book Yoga for Scoliosis by Elise Browning Miller, because this is a great kind of resource for anyone who wants to dive a little bit deeper into that kind of specific, and who likes having something there. Again, you can obviously check out my website as well, but Elise Browning Miller is one of my teachers, and I love this book and I use it all the time. So in terms of exercises, no, there aren't really any, as far as I know, that would be the same exactly. However, the principles are similar. So in yoga for scoliosis, and the way I approach it, we are looking for elongation of the spine. We're looking for decompression. So traction is a little bit part of that, and that's similar. That's also happening in the Schroth therapy, using the breath, right? So expanding into the concavities. That's the way I teach it. That's the way Elise teaches it as well. We breathe into the concavity, we breathe out from the convexity. That is similar. At the end of the day, what is the same is the goal, right? We're looking to improve the posture, and we're looking to improve the asymmetric. We're looking to reduce the asymmetric load force that is going through the body. So we're looking to bring everything back into a little bit more harmony, re-educate the body, and then move it around. that's what we do in yoga for scoliosis. I'm sure the Schroth therapists would agree. However, I feel that there is in yoga for scoliosis, there is more participation from the student required. So you have to really want it, you have to feel it, and then you have to kind of take it into your daily life as well. So it's not just on your yoga mat, do these yoga poses and then you'll be fine. No, it's going to be more than that. And then it doesn't really matter what you do at the end of the day, because what you have learned in your yoga practice, you can take this off your mat. You can take this into any type of exercises that you like, and apply all these principles as well. So I still haven't answered the question about twisting. So let me bring this back here for a moment. So Tatiana was saying, after listening, I think she's referring to the interview I did a year ago with Meredith Weiss about twisting. No, it was about Schroth therapy and yoga as well. But she did say to us, no twisting, right? And I have really gone through the whole, I've listened to everyone. I've considered it all. I've looked at all the research and all of that. I do agree that because the spine is already kind of in rotation, do we want to encourage lots of twisting? That's kind of naturally what our body wants to do. And I agree that if it's somebody who's got a progressive scoliosis and also somebody who's still growing, that they should probably stay away from a lot of twisting poses. However, if your scoliosis is mild and fairly stable, there isn't really, I feel twisting can be beneficial, depending on why you do it, right? You have to be quite certain about your intention. Why do you twist? Is it just to achieve a very twisty yoga pose, which often goes into end range? Then I would say no, don't do that with scoliosis. But if you can lengthen, if you can keep your scoliosis curvature in mind, and this is what you learn obviously in my online course, in the practice transformation. If you can do this with integrity and think about the areas that you want to keep spacious, that you want to lengthen, and where you don't want to go further into your rotation, that's already happening in your spine, then you can absolutely do it. So there's no reason why you wouldn't. And there are reasons why you do twists, right? And for example, if I see someone is quite, doesn't have a lot of mobility in their thoracic spine, I find twisting very useful, right? To just loosen things up a little bit first before we do anything else. But this very much depends on the individual curve pattern. So there are people where I would say do not twist, and there are people where I would say yes, why not? So it's quite individual. I'm not sure if that's helping you, Tatiana. But so going back, I think you were asking about me as well. I twist, but I twist less. That sounds like the dance, right? So I've taken a lot of those poses out of my practice, and I don't go into the end range. I do, again, in the practice transformation, we go through twisting because I feel like it's part of day-to-day life. However, there's literally like 2 twisting poses in there, because I feel that's enough. We do not need to encourage a lot of twisting. So it wouldn't be part of my daily routine. Let's put it that way. Okay, Brenda. Brenda is saying, Schroth didn't really help me as an adult. It did help me with breathing and teaching me that scoliosis is 3-dimensional, but yoga has helped me in so many aspects. Yes, And I think that kind of summarizes my own opinion as well. And I'm sure there are people that have, adults that have found Schroth therapy to be very beneficial. But again, for me personally, I need to do something that I connect with, that motivates me to do. And this has always been yoga more than kind of physiotherapy in general. Can be, you know, you might do it for a specific reason. If you, for example, you know, if you've got problem with your shoulder or whatever, you might need specific things there for your shoulder. However, scoliosis is a long-term thing, right? It doesn't go away, unfortunately. And if we're thinking about a whole life, now I have been dealing with my scoliosis since I was a child. So let's say 30 years, that's a long time, right? And that's a long time to keep going with your practice and keep doing things. And for me, yoga, there's been more things that keep me interested and that keep me practicing. Good. So Leonie is saying, I had the same experience. I did Schroth therapy for 7 years now, but only yoga managed to relieve my pain and made me feel great in my body. Yes. And again, with pain, I feel, again, I know the Schroth exercises, and I'm sure there are people who would say it has helped them. However, for me, it did not help me with the pain. I can see how it's helpful with kind of correcting and improving posture, especially if you're still growing. But for pain, my approach is different. Okay, Gail is saying, yes, not twisting with vigor. Still need twisting, as you say. Yes, absolutely. I think twisting is part of your day-to-day life, right? You need to be able to turn around, and if you're driving your car and you want to look what's going on behind you, right? It's a functional movement at the end of the day. We are designed to move. We are not designed to be a robot and be a stick and just walk around like that. We are designed for movement. And I feel my opinion is that twisting poses in yoga teach you a lot. They teach you what's going on in your body. Have you ever noticed that when you turn to one side, that is really easy, and then when you turn to the other side, then there is a lot of resistance going on? Have you ever noticed that twisting lying on your back, bringing the legs over, is different from doing a twist in a seated position? So they teach you something, which is again why I haven't taken them out in any way, completely out of my practice. Good. Gail is saying, I'm motivated to have less pain. Yes, me too. Love the constructive rest pose with the hand towels from your course. Yes, thank you, Gail. And this is a very gentle way of derotation, right? And again, so I wouldn't call it twisting, but you're still doing what you want to do, which is derotating the spine and taking that that rotation out of your scoliosis. Good. Brenda is saying, I elongate first and then allow the twist to develop. Schroth discouraged twisting yoga allows that freedom, and it feels really good. Yes, and you know what? What happens if somebody tells you not to do something, right? Doesn't matter what age you are. Children, definitely, but also grown-ups. If somebody tells you not to do it, you're hopefully going to ask yourself, well, why? And very often, if you're a little bit rebellious, then you're probably going to do it, and you're really going to want to do it, right? Because somebody told you not to do it. So I'm not a fan of telling people what not to do. However, I do realize that a little bit of guidance is obviously useful, and I can, again, I feel like if you are going to tell people what not to do, that there has to be a lot of explanation about this and why in your specific case you should not be twisting. why would you say to everyone who's got scoliosis, which is a lot of people, right? So they say between 1% to 3% have got adolescent idiopathic scoliosis. If we look at adults, that's a lot more. And when we kind of come to degenerative lumbar scoliosis at an older age, we're probably looking more at like 60% of that population have scoliosis. Are we going to say to everyone that they should not be doing any sort of twisting? No, I think this is like an individual case by case decision. And again, this is why I teach what I teach the way I teach it, because I want you to take part in this decision, and that's what we do in the practice transformation. A lot of it is about getting to know yourself and your curvature and finding the practice that works for you and allowing you to experiment, right? How boring would life be if we couldn't experiment, if we couldn't try different things and then decide if it's for us or not. So freedom, yes, absolutely. Freedom to move. And again, we are human beings. We've got bodies that are designed to move. Again, my opinion. That's all I can do here, right? Good. So I'm hoping that this has given you a good overview of the differences between those two things. I'm just reading comments and, and talking at the same time. Between those two approaches, I'm hoping that you understand why I do what I do, why I am in the Yoga for Scoliosis camp. However, I am getting my education from the Schroth side because I highly value the scientific approaches, right? So sometimes in yoga we can get a little bit too woo out there, and it might not be completely backed up with science. So that's what I value about the Schroth therapy, and I certainly highly value their research as well. So Hugh Alex is saying, love your channel, yoga scoliosis treatment, course fee. Okay, course fee. Link to your current, okay. This is a very difficult to read comment, but I'm understanding from this, you want to know how much my Yoga for Scoliosis course is and how you can sign up, which is what I'm going to tell you right now. So you'll find the link hopefully in the description. If it's not there right now, I will put it in later. You can message me, you can email me at info@jaureguiberry.net. Let me find the this slide here. Oh, I need to take that comment off. Okay, so that you can see it. So the Yoga for Scoliosis practice transformation starts on the 9th of May. You can still register. If you register now, then you can get a 45-minute one-to-one session with me included. I think there's 14 spaces for that left. So you've got a good chance if you're doing that now. It's 4 modules in total. There are 4 live sessions now. So I've changed this course over the years quite a lot. I've adapted it with all the new information that I've gotten, the new kind of knowledge and all of that. So there's an educational part to it, kind of lectures and educational material. There's printable yoga sequences in there. And we've got live practices, and then we've got live Q&A sessions where you get to know the other people on the course as well. Good. Gail is saying, nice, such a good course. I think Gail has done it 3 times, something like that. So thank you so much, Gail. Yes, and I always change it, right? I always adapt it because I am learning as we're going. And as I said to you, over the last year, I've gone down more of the getting the information from the people that design therapies for scoliosis, right? Because obviously they have got that experience and that knowledge. So yes, you'll find all the details in the description of either, if you're looking at this on your app or on YouTube, you can find all the information there. If you've got any questions, obviously you can contact me, you can ask me any questions. It's all recorded, it's all going to be recorded. If you can't make the live sessions, then you can catch up afterwards. I've got people in different time zones usually, and there's people, I'm in the UK, people might be in America, in Europe, in Australia. So the times don't always work for everyone, but you can submit all your questions beforehand. We've got a private Facebook group as well. So plenty of ways to get the most out of it. Good, guys. So I'm hoping that this was useful. Next week, I've got James Knight. We're trying again. Talking about somatic yoga, somatics, neuroscience. He promised, he put it all in this diary. His assistant put it in this diary, in her diary, and he is going to be there. So James Knight next week. I can't remember what we're doing the week after. The week after, we've got spinal fusion rehab with Emily Hale, and she's a Pilates teacher. So we're going to get the Pilates perspective as well. So thank you so much, guys, for listening. And yes, tune in next week to hear me chat to James Knight. Bye, everyone.